Hilliard, breaking ankles, Barkley ahead. Oh, at the buzzer. What can they do? On one to the finish. Seconds to go, speed towards the basket for two.
We are at the Wing 2 Gymnasium here in the ABL Basketball League, folks, and we do have our second doubleheader for this week. It is the Zamboanga Valientes from the Philippines taking on the Lourve Surabaya squad from Indonesia. My name is Noel Zarate, working alongside Coach Todd Purves. And Coach, it has come down to this for the Zamboanga Valientes. They must win every game from this point on.
Absolutely. It's wonderful to be able to win. And you're right, their backs are against the wall. They have a great opportunity to slip in here, stop, and I think they've got great chance to do it here inside.
And they are, of course, they have lost the previous game, but at 5 and 6, everything's still up in the air. Of course, they move with Surabaya. There's actually there are quite a bit of spoilers here today. But before anything else, of course, we do have our player introductions. We'll be introducing everybody in this beautiful gymnasium that we have here in Ho Chi Minh City. All right, we've met all the players right now. Zamboanga Valientes, of course, of the Philippines in white, and Lourve Surabaya is in blue in this one, Coach. So again, there is a report. We've actually confirmed this, that there's only going to be one report. Setting up for the Zamboanga
Valientes. All the damage he's done here in the ABL. A very exciting player to watch.
Well, let's take a look at the keys to victory here first for the Philippine squad.
Creating mismatches is going to be a big deal, especially with Ronaldo Bulkman now. You're going to have a hard time finding someone on that Indonesian squad who can really match up with him.
Well, of course, for the Indonesian squad, with only one win here, there's nowhere else but up for this squad. But they do have a full complement of the imports, and one of them is going to be this gentleman here, Alioni 2, who's averaging close to 23 points a game.
Sure, averaging 22 and 17 are big numbers. And when you're able to play loose the way Surabaya is going to be able to play right now, you can oftentimes get hot and really make this game a contest.
Well, let's see if he can become a factor here. They are hard-pressed for a win, but of course they are playing the role of spoilers. Now, how does that factor in, Coach, that you know you're not making it to the next round, but you still have a few more games to play?
You know, it works in two different ways. Number one, you may not feel as excited knowing that you're done making that playoff run, but at the same time, you know there's no pressure. And when there's no pressure, guys can get a little bit more creative. They feel a little more confidence. And sometimes you'll see some of the younger players excel when that pressure's off.
Mario Chalmers, of course, a former two-time NBA champion, will not be playing for the Zamboanga Valientes today. He ran into some kind of a visa issue, which they still can't explain at this point, but he is making the trip tonight. Unfortunately, their game is today, but he will be playing tomorrow for the Zamboanga Valientes.
Big loss for Zamboanga for this particular game. Mario Chalmers is obviously a great player. We watched him win on many levels in the NCAA and in the U.S. He propelled Kansas to the national championship with a big late three-pointer in that game, you might remember, as well as winning the NBA championship with the Miami Heat. So this guy's done it on all levels. So he will be missed today. Hopefully we get him back for the remaining games.
That's what they'll be missing, of course. The Zamboanga Valientes close to 17 points a game, 4.3, and the big one, of course, on defense. Mario Chalmers, he hasn't lost a step. I've actually talked to the coaching staff here of Zamboanga, and they're surprised at the level of physical condition that he's actually in after his playing days in the NBA were over.
He also brings a great deal of leadership.
Right.
And that's what they may miss as well. When you have a veteran in that locker room who's been through it, he can calm things down when things are getting a little tumultuous. But certainly some of these veteran athletes that have taken care of themselves can continue to play into their later years the way Mario has.
Well, Jeremy Arthur on your screens right there. He's a natural 3. They might make him play a little stretch 4, probably a little big deuce. But again, when you have somebody this talented, a Filipino-American, always a big plus for any squad in the Philippines.
And you love a player that can play inside out. That's how you can create mismatches. If you have someone who can not only shoot the three-point shot, but put in work on the block or in the paint, it's difficult to find someone who can guard it. The quickness on the outside as well as the physicality on the inside. Looking forward to seeing what he does today.
Well, you can see the officiating crew, 2 Malaysians and 1 gentleman from Vietnam, as we are set to get things going in about 3 minutes here. That is our crew chief, of course, Nelson Chan, who is also a veteran of the ABL. I'm just so happy. I actually didn't introduce you correctly, Coach Todd. You are an ABL champion with the Indonesia Warriors. Before that, let's take a look at the next generation of Indonesia from Surabaya. This is their starting lineup, of course, led by B-Boy Angio and 3 imports.
You're right. Well, with Jamar Johnson now is a heritage player for them, and he's been around in Indonesia for quite a while. He's made a great place for himself. He's a member of the Indonesian national team, and just a lot of love and respect for that guy.
And, of course, they will be led by this man, Jomar Tierra, of course, a Filipino basketball player. He's part of the Tierra brothers, the Tierra brothers, who have actually done very well in the Professional Basketball Association, and he has found his way here as a head coach for Surabaya. Now, taking a look at the lineup here, again, no Mario Chalmers, and of course, they have lost Antonio Hester, so this is what they have to work with right now.
Well, definitely they've got a real player in Ronaldo Balkman up front, and he's going to play inside, outside as well. And then having a point guard with experience is going to be a big deal for him as well.
Rudy Linganay, of course, has been there, done that, also played in the professional ranks in the Philippines. And, of course, you're looking at Expedito de los Santos. They call him Bobby Dick. That's his nickname, Bobby.
Wow, okay, Bobby.
So we're just going to call him Coach de los Santos for now. And again, a lot of names really have to step up here for this Indonesian squad for them to pick up a win. But again, this is actually a learning experience. According to B-Boy Angio, I talked to him before the game, this is more of a developmental team. They did not get anybody from the IBL. They have 1 player actually from the IBL, but the rest are a bunch of kids gaining experience and hopefully one day can break into the IBL in Indonesia.
Well, certainly the best players in Indonesia do play in that IBL, great league down there. And so these young men are here to try and establish their own road. And if they can get in to the IBL from the ABL, it's great for them.
Speaking of ABL, there's an ABL veteran right there, Ronaldo Balkman, who played for San Miguel Alab, Pilipinas. Did not win a championship, though, with Alab, and was also part of the team during the COVID-shortened season, which you and I both experienced, of course. You were part of that Macau Wolf Warriors squad when COVID hit.
That COVID was tough on all of us.
Yeah.
But you're right. We had things going there for that ABL season, and it feels wonderful to be back. Finally.
Exactly. And it's going to get plenty loud here. And to think that the Saigon Heat don't even have a game today. A sparse crowd at the moment. This could grow because it's quitting time right now. Everybody's probably on their way here to the Nguyen Du Gym here in Ho Chi Minh City. And you and I just had the opportunity to travel from Hanoi to actually be part of this right now. It's great to be here.
It really is great to be here. That cool weather up in Hanoi is gone, though, now. We're back down in the heat, and I do expect the crowd to be flowing in here pretty soon. Yesterday, we had a full house.
Oh, yeah.
So come Saigon Heat game, in that second game, it was packed, and it was loud, and it was electric.
Well, of course.
So I expect to see some more fans come.
Right. And, of course, the Saigon Heat still atop of the heat. That's always good news. Saigon Heat looking to make some waves in the ABL this coming season. It's always great to have them. You know, they're one of the longest running teams here in the ASEAN Basketball League. And it's about time they actually had a run for a championship. So the first possession going to the white shirts of the Zamboanga Valientes. And we are underway. First game of our doubleheader here today. It's going to be the Macau Black Bears and, of course, the squad from Malaysia later on, NS Matrix. They'll be going up against each other. Here's Rudy Linganay now, one of the veterans from the Philippines, and a drive immediately. That is a good find on that drive there for the Valientes.
Well, Surabaya coming out in a man-to-man defense and just couldn't hold him off the dribble there. Comes right back down with the three.
Well, the Filipino-Indonesian B-Boy Angel getting his first 3 points of the game. So it is an early lead here for Lourve Surabaya. There's Jeremy Arthur, uncorks that lefty, sweet shot. Can't get it to go now. Angel is bringing it down here for the green shirts. And we talked about the keys to victory here for the squad from the Philippines. How about these Indonesians? I mean, with only one win, what's the game plan coming in?
Well, the first thing you want to do is get off to a good start, and that's exactly what they're doing. So this is more mental, I think, for the Indonesia team. You want to get off to a good start and give yourself some confidence so you know that you can play with Zamboanga.
Well, Tuasela now making it 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. Arthur is 0 for 2 to begin the game, and 2 able to get the rebound. All 6'9", 6'8" of this guys bringing down the ball. And no matter how you put it, basketball is still a game of height, Coach.
Without question. It always makes a coach nervous to see the big fella bringing it down, but they're knocked down the mid-range shot. He's doing what it takes. And
Tew, who's averaging 23 a game, also contributes there with that long two. So it is 8-2, yet to miss the squad with from Indonesia. And they come away with the rebound once again. Here's Angel, one man to beat. That is Balkman. That is their first miss, and it comes from close range. Tew can't get it to go. And a battle for the rebound picked up again by the Valientes. And here they come into the front court, and still nothing, but finally a follow-up drops. That was Belorio with his first 2 points of the game. Another three. Boy, they're liking this one right now. B-Boy Angel hitting 2 3-pointers here, Coach, at an early timeout for Zamboanga.
And I think that's a great timeout. There's no sense in getting yourself down too far right now. If Surabaya has come out here and gotten loose early, you want to make sure you stop the heat of them, and then let's draw up a play to get the look that you're trying to get for the Philippines.
Largest lead of the game now for Lourve Surabaya, 11-4 against the Zamboanga Valientes of the Philippines. And again, Zamboanga looking to stay alive in the competition right now. They cannot afford another loss going forward here, Coach Todd.
You know, the big fella Tew is really making his presence felt early. With rebounding, he had a great outlet pass, running the floor. He missed that last layup. But if he's able to keep up this type of pace and this type of impact, he's going to keep him close. Well,
Zamboanga Valientes with a quick huddle right there. And Ronaldo Balkman, you know already who's going to be taking on the leadership role here. If it's not Rudy Linganay, it's going to be this guy, Ronaldo Balkman, who's actually been a part of the Puerto Rican national team, has played in the Philippines as well, and has been in the ABL. So you know that he's worth the leadership.
Well, and his time with the New York Knicks was valuable
as
well.
That's right.
What a hustle player and a valiant player by that organization.
I think the inbounds came before the buzzer sounded, so they're going to do this again with 7:55 remaining in the first quarter. What a start here for Lourve Surabaya. 3 out of 3 from beyond the arc.
It's exactly what they needed to try and build a little confidence early if they're going to play with this Zamboanga team.
Lingana getting it out. Belorio tries his hand at a 3. That one is short. Angel with the rebound, and they are going to try to go in transition once again. Defense is now a little higher here for the Zamboanga Valientes.
Well, they're extending the defense. In all likelihood, Coach just said that we're not getting it done defensively around that 3-point line since they went 3 for 3.
So how about that drive as a fake pass, and Hammond's able to get it done. Now a 9-point lead, 13-4. Arthur breaks free.
No help from the weak side on that man-to-man defense. Someone's got to come over from that weak side all by himself for an easy bucket.
Well, Arthur, of course, has put on a lot of heft since the first time I saw him about couple years ago, actually last year. Here's Tew, and he's going to get held as he tried to go up before the shot, according to referee Nelson Chan. That's a foul on Arthur. So again, they're a very aggressive start. You know, this is not something that we're used to seeing here from Surabaya, especially when their starting lineup, of course, hits down. But they still have their starters out there, and they're still doing well against Zamboanga.
And making those early threes is going to be a real confidence booster.
Nice drop pass. Baseline J will roll out. Balkman with the first of his many rebounds on the defensive end. Another drive here, Arthur. Can't get that one to go.
Two, again, affecting that shot. He didn't block it, but his presence right there forced the miss.
Bekajay sort of playing like a combo guard at this spot here for the Philippines. That's going to be another foul against Zamboanga Valientes. Belorio will be called for this one. As we see this one again, look at this. Just trying to bully his way in. I mean, this guy's 6'8", 6'9", but he's not just tall, he's also wide.
You're right, he's a big, thick player, and it's a handful right now for Zamboanga to hold.
Well, we got Pelmele coming in to the game for the first time. Again, a bunch of kids, according to B-Boy Angyo, who are just trying to get some experience points here for Surabaya.
And what a great opportunity for them to get that experience in international play.
Exactly. Outlet pass now. Balkman scores his first field goal of the game as a member of the Zamboanga Valientes. Remember, he did replace Antonio Hester in this lineup. And I was talking to the coaching staff again. They're still looking for that third import, but they have to win first before they can get that third import. First miss from beyond the arc there from Engyo. So again, what do we say about the three-point shot? You live and die with it? You could die with it if it doesn't start to go in. Jeremy Arthur knocks it down.
Absolutely. And when you make the early ones, you're going to force the defense to close out harder. That's the time you want to take them off the dribble and attack the rim.
Well, it's still a bunch of three-point shots still being hoisted up, and that's going to be a turnover once again. Good defensive presence that time by Zamboanga. Oh, what about the sidestep for Arthur? And he will get to the free throw line.
That extended defense from the Philippines is now affecting the three-point shooting of Surabaya.
So how do you counter that? I mean, you still want to have the three-point shot as part of your game plan. So if the defense extends, how do you counteract that?
You want to play inside out. So whether that's via penetration, that you penetrate into the paint and then kick the ball back out, or if you throw the ball into the big, like two, on the block, collapse the defense, and then throw it back out for the open three-point shot. If you stay around the perimeter, that's going to allow that defense to extend and really challenge those three-point shots. You need to attack the paint first and then kick out for those open looks.
Well, look at what's happening now. From a high of 9, that lead is down to 3 points now. Here's Angio now, looking for a friend. I think they're showing zone here a bit. They immediately go back to a man-to-man. Hammond's three-pointer, good once again. And the fire is still on for Surabaya.
You're exactly right. They slipped into a zone for a moment there, but ended up giving up the open three in it.
Right. Balkman, strong drive. That's going to be a quick timeout now called by Joe Martiera. As Lourve Surabaya's lead was highest at 9, it is now down to just 4 points, 18-14, Coach. We'll step away for just a few moments. We'll be right back. Take a look at some of the highlights that has happened so far here in the first quarter. An early 9-point lead for Lourve Surabaya because of their outside shooting. Everything's going backwards though. We are going forward in this one. My name is Noel Zarate with ABL champion coach and the first ABL coach of the year, if I may add, Coach Todd Curbs. Again, it's an honor to finally be working with you after all these years. I mean, I was one of the announcers when we tried to stop you guys in 2012 in the Philippines. Unsuccessfully, though, and the Indonesia Warriors had won the championship over the San Miguel Beermen.
Those are good memories. Those are a lot of gray hairs behind you.
And here is Surabaya back in action, too, able to get it done.
Attacking that paint without resistance, and he's just able to get the slick dime right there.
Balkman wants it back. Balkman gets it back.
Balkman's going right at the big fella. Whether he's trying to draw fouls or put him in a position to back up because Balkman's a bit quicker, we'll see.
20-16 now for the Valientes with under 5 minutes remaining here in the first. Johnson for 3, and everything is working from beyond the arc for Surabaya.
They've certainly got it going from three-point range.
23-16 right now, Coach Todd, and it's this Surabaya squad is going away. How about this tipsy dilemma follow slam coming from Ronaldo Bachman?
That's a real strong move to the basket. And oftentimes when you make a good move like that, that weak side defense comes over. And even if you miss the shot, those weak side offensive players are there to clean it up, the way you put it down on him right there.
And you have to think how old is Bachman. Of course, he is not going to reveal his actual age to you. Following up his own miss with his second slam of the game.
And Bachman tapping his chest saying, that's my fault. He knew after that shot that he didn't put a body on him first, so the shooter was able to go get his own board.
They say, long shots produce long rebounds. Nice on the give and go here from Bachman to Amores.
Great cut after that ball went into the block.
So John Amores coming off the bench today with his first 2 points of the game. 25-20. It looks like a high-scoring affair here in Ho Chi Minh. Another three on the way. That's a good bother there coming from Rudy Linganay. They're pushing it up this time. Amores will slow it down now for the Zamboanga Valientes as we come up on the 3:20 mark here in the first quarter. Rudy Linganay, a native of Zamboanga in the Philippines. Bachman tries his hand at a three. And the battle for the rebound once again secured by the white shirts. Amores, fall away. Can't get it to go. And Tew with another rebound. It's going to be interesting, the rebounding battle between Tew and Ronaldo Bachman.
Absolutely, that's going to be a great battle. And we're at a blistering pace right now.
Right.
7 minutes into the game, 25-20.
Angel had to fight for that one. And to the front court. Only 5 on the shot clock now for Surabaya. Tew, wild shot. And Amores is now going to push it up for the Valientes. No look over to Arthur. Splits the defense and gets it to go. Plus the foul.
That's a nice little Euro step there and the finish on the reverse side.
You always got to remember that this kid is left-handed. And that was just a pretty finish right there. I mean, it's tough enough to guard somebody shooting left-handed, but when he's driving and you don't protect that side where he can actually use his left hand, you're in trouble here, Coach.
That's just a really nice move and Euro step and finishing on the opposite side. As a lefty, you're right. You don't see that often. It's up the top.
Right. Last lefty probably that did that very well was went by the name of Manu Ginobili.
What a pleasure to watch that man.
Yeah.
That Euro step and his finishing around the rim. One of the great NBA players of all time and one of the big three for the San Antonio Spurs.
That's right. And because of this three-point play, the lead is down to 2 for Lourve Surabaya. 25-23. Johnson getting it out. Everybody wanting to have a crack at that three. Nice drive. That one is short, however. Picked up here by Bachman. Almost lost it. 2:20 remaining here in the first. A chance to tie or take the lead now for the Zamboanga Valientes. Bachman puts it on the floor, and Bachman comes up short, and he will get to the free throw line on a foul by Tew.
Bachman continuing to go right at the big man, trying to use his quickness to get to the rim, drawing the foul right there. One thing Surabaya certainly can't afford is for him to get Tew to get in foul trouble.
I remember when he was teammates before with the big import, whose name escapes me right now, PJ Ramos. PJ accused him of intentionally missing so he could get more rebounds.
That PJ Ramos is a big, strong player. That's underneath.
Right. They were teammates at San Miguel Alab, Pilipinas. Did not win a championship, though. They weren't able to defend their championship. When PJ and Ronaldo Bachman were on the team, they had a mission, although COVID cut the season short. Bachman not really known for his free throws, by the way. Missing out on his first. Again, Ronaldo Bachman, but what a story for this veteran from the NBA. You're right about his days with the New York Knicks. He cuts the lead down to 1 as we come up on 2 minutes remaining here in the first 10 minutes of action. Hammonds being watched by Amores. Getting the pick from Tew. Hammonds, he's going to baby that shot. J.R. Kawaling in the game for the first time for the Filipinos.
Those floaters down the lane can be tough shots. They usually end up low percentage, same as step backs. They're popular amongst the players, but they don't always fall for them.
That's true. Got is in as the point guard now. Amores on the drive. That would have been pretty if he had made it. But it looks like this will go the other way to the green shirts with 1:33 remaining. Lourve Surabaya with a 9-point lead at one point. It is down to 1. They can extend it right now. But a full court press is greeting them right now, Coach Todd.
It is. Let's see if they're going to be they're going to pick up full court and just back off. So they're not going to be in the full zone press. They're just going to try and pick them up to slow the ball down and put them up against the shot clock.
Johnson sees that his defender is a little off, but his shot is also a little off. Here's Balkman. He can play the role of point guard here. Cadiz will set it up now for the Filipinos. Coming up on the final minute here. Nice cut. Amores couldn't hang on to it. Trying to bully his way in, and he is going to throw it away. John Amores was just lost in that offensive sequence there, Coach.
That was another good pass from Ronaldo Balkman, who's had a couple of backdoors, hit a couple of backdoors and cutters. He's just a willing passer and an unselfish player.
Jerome Ferrer seeing his first action for the Zamboanga Valientes. And Belorio is also going to come back in. He's going to give Ronaldo Balkman a bit of a breather here. Remember that Balkman, practically just a few days of practice with this team. And if you're just joining us, of course, Mario Chalmers is not in the building as of the moment. He's probably at the airport already by now, heading here, but he will be playing tomorrow.
Zamboanga going a little bit small right here, slipped into a zone, and they were able to beat him up on the backside there.
Right, Ron Q, of course, is now the biggest human being on the floor. And he was able to get the follow-up. So with 42 seconds remaining, 27-24, the lead for Lourve Surabaya. Belorio tries again. He's in and out. It's a second miss from beyond the arc. He's the 6'5" center who's shooting from beyond the arc. How much has basketball changed, right, Coach?
For the better. I love to watch the big guys who can shoot outside, but as long as they're willing to go in there and bang.
And there's going to be banging, of course, on that attempted drive. Coming from Pelmelay, working against the smaller Cadiz that time. Still not yet in the penalty, of course. 3 team fouls each for the two squads. Angyo has yet to miss in this game.
Zamboanga getting Ronaldo Balkman a little rest right before the end of the quarter. You'll often see teams do this to combine it with the break at the end of the quarter, so your player gets to actually sit for about 2 to 2.5 minutes and get his rest in.
However, that's to the detriment now of the Zamboanga Valientes, as they will finish this first quarter down by 5. But we're able to navigate it to just a 1-point lead for the opposition, and now 29-24 at the end of the first 10 minutes of action in favor of Lourve Surabaya against the Zamboanga Valientes. Once again, back here at the Nguyen Du Gymnasium in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, as Ronaldo Balkman takes a little bit of a breather. He won't actually be playing for the Zamboanga Valientes to start this second quarter, but it has been so far so good for the Lourve Surabaya squad, 29-24. Heading into quarter number 2, my name is Noel Zarate, working with former ABL champion and former ABL Coach of the Year, Todd Purves. Your assessment of that first quarter for both teams?
Well, this has been about three-point shooting early on. Surabaya shooting 62% from the three-point line here in the first quarter has gotten them the lead that we see right now, 5 points. And 1 for 6 from the Philippine team is obviously going to slow them down a bit. But I expect them to make their run here very soon here in the second quarter. They've come out in a 2-3 zone, and they'll get an early stop.
Well, of course, they are going to the zone because they are completely outmatched in terms of good fast break here. Linganay finding a friend. And that is Ferrer on the finishing end for the Zamboanga Valientes. Again, you never stop running in transition. It looks like Surabaya just sort of slowed down, but their three-point shooting is still on. So it is 32-26. Probably the coaching staff here of Zamboanga Valientes, it's a matter of time before they start missing, but they haven't been missing. What did you say, 62% from three in the first quarter?
Well, we talked about playing with that freedom when you don't have pressure, and that's when you can see some teams really get loose from the three-point line, especially when you're not feeling that pressure that you must win. And like you said, playing that spoiler role, they've been able to do it so far. That's exactly what they want to do against the zone, is get the ball to the middle like they did against Q, but that three-point shot is off.
But again, a lot of pressure for the Zamboanga Valientes. They cannot afford to lose anymore if they want to make it to the next round. Here's Kawaling now, getting it out to Ferrer. Moving it around now, Belorio. A little bit of a floating man zone now being played here by Lourve Surabaya. Amores with the left hand. So Amores cutting it down to 4 at this point. Just trying to buy enough time so that Ronaldo Balkman comes in fresh here for the Valientes.
Zamboanga back to the zone, really trying to buy some time here while Ronaldo Balkman rests, and we'll see if Surabaya can still continue to heat from three-point range.
Well, they're getting the open shots here, Coach Todd, but they haven't been falling so far here in the second quarter. Only one make. Oh, nice seal inside. Amores knows exactly what to do with that kind of position.
Great transition seal, just dropped a reverse pivot on him under the rim, and that's an easy bucket.
The lead down to 2 right now, 32-30.
Surabaya has to be careful not to fall in love with the three-point shot too much right now. They have a size advantage with Q, and they're not really trying to get the ball inside as much right now, and I think that they're settling a bit.
And the three-pointers are getting more and more wild for the green shirts here. And B-Boy Angio was supposed to have an extended rest here at the start of the second quarter. Has to come back now, and bad news again for Lourve Surabaya as the starters have returned now. Jeremy Arthur along with Ronaldo Balkman in for the Zamboanga Valientes. Looks like a father and son team out there, by the way. They have the same hairstyle and the same headband.
Just a little bit of height difference, I guess, to tell them apart.
That's why they look father and son. Let's see if they can run a pick and roll together here. Oh, that's some kind of a pick and roll. What do you think?
It was. He made the big man slide over to help, and again, like what happened earlier, when you miss that shot, your weak side offensive player can clean up that offensive rebound and finish it for you.
Jeremy Arthur is going to ask for an assist after that one. Long bombs have been missing now for the green shirts, and we are tied. Kawaling cannot give them the lead, but he will get to earn it from the free throw line. The veteran, former national team player from the Philippines.
It was a really nice pass ahead in transition. But again, Surabaya has to be careful. They're falling in love with the outside shot too much. That also creates long rebounds like what we just saw and puts the other team in a transition situation. Right. And Zamboanga obviously just took advantage of that.
First lead of the game now. Well, first lead since 2-0 for the Zamboanga Valientes as J.R. Kawaling is able to knock that down. He was part of the original national team program called the Gilas program in the Philippines, something that you're very familiar with, Coach.
Very familiar with the Gilas program and all the work they've done and the special games that they've had in there in the Philippines, and just a wonderful team and a wonderful group of players.
He was part of that first ever batch of Gilas players, if we may. And then speaking of national team players, that is B-Boy Engi of the Indonesian national team, losing the handle. 3-on-1, Linganay on the finish.
Zamboanga is rolling right now, and Surabaya, if they get another miss or two, they're going to have to consider a timeout here and stem the tide.
Well, it is now 36-32. This actually represents the largest lead of the game now for the Zamboanga Valientes. And Balkman is all over the place here in terms of his defense. He's 30-something. He's pushing 40. You know that? Ronaldo Balkman. And he's still playing at a very high level.
I've been watching him and a fan of his since I was a kid, so he must be pretty old.
I don't know about the kid part. Arthur with another layup. Boy, the fast break points are now starting to pile up for the Zamboanga Valientes.
These easy baskets have really stormed them right into the lead. And if Surabaya is not willing to get back on defense, it's going to be a long night.
Well, Angio has yet to miss from the field. Now he throws it away on an attempted pick and roll there. Arthur gets it out. Kawaling, this used to be his specialty, but he can't fire. Arthur, though, fires, and he's still looking for his first three-pointer of the game. Q with another rebound. Under 6 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. Let's see if they try to go for that outside shot once again. Q's thinking about stepping back. Going to be a little bit more patient now. Hammonds wants to take it strong. Floater in the lane is good. So Hammond's cutting it down to 4. Balkman in transition once again. I mean, that was pretty good transition defense, but better transition offense for the Valientes.
After a made basket, you really have to sprint back, and you don't want to give up layups on the other end after a make. And for me, that's a bit inexcusable to let that guy get behind you.
Well, 40-34 right now. Tew left open, and he was left open for a reason. He missed that, but the long rebound picked up once again by Hammonds. They want to slow things down. That was Johnson, actually. Coming up on 5 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. No high-low coming from B-Boy Angio. He has to do something with his broken play. He was looking for a shot clock violation and did not go down on defense. Ligana scores again. Boy, that's a mortal sin there, Coach.
Another pass ahead for an easy layup, and Surabaya is going to have to get back on defense and refocus. This is just turning into a fast break drill here in the second quarter.
You know, Zamboanga was quite nervous when they found out that Mario Chalmers would not be joining them. Of course, they're still smarting from the loss of Antonio Hester, who was replaced, of course, by Ronaldo Balkman. And yet they have come up with, what is this, 12 consecutive fast break points here in the second quarter. And here's that timeout we were talking about, Coach Todd. It is now a 10-point lead for Zamboanga.
Yeah, it's a much-needed timeout. And on that last play, you had 3 players from Surabaya not get across half court in transition defense. And if you're not willing to sprint back, Zamboanga is going to continue with this layup drill, and we're going to have a blowout.
That's 12 points on consecutive layups now for the Zamboanga Valientes. As we take a look at some of the action right here. Again, we see this first quarter action. You know, Surabaya was actually doing a lot of the inside out. They had a lot of dunks, they had a lot of threes, but of course, come the second quarter, the adjustment coming from the Zamboanga Valientes, that no longer is the trend now for the Indonesians.
You're absolutely correct. And when they extended that defense and challenged these three-point shots, it's quelled some of that scoring fire. But Surabaya has fallen in love with that outside shot a bit too much. They were going inside and playing inside out early and having success. When they made those three-point shots now, they're just settling for them, and they're not attacking first.
And they're not even having any attempt or any shot at that three-point shot because of the defensive adjustment here for the Zamboanga Valientes. But again, how about those layups? I mean, how do you stop that? It's so easy. Just come back on transition, right?
Well, that's part of the reason we talked about Surabaya getting that confidence early. When you have one win and you've suffered some losses, sometimes you can get a little bit demoralized. You want to see them continue to fight, and that starts with transition defense.
I can hardly hear the last part of your sentence. The Thunder Sticks have come out here at the Windu Gymnasium here in Ho Chi Minh. And as we said earlier, to think that the Saigon Heat don't even have a game today, and that is thrown away once again. And you hate that, Coach Todd. Coming off a timeout, you don't execute.
Yeah, to take the timeout, you want to get the ball to a certain place or a certain player to get some action, and when you turn it right over, it's demoralizing. Well,
Angio is going to shadow Kawali. These two guys are actually good friends, but they were trash talking before the game. Let's see if that comes out to something here. Here's Arthur using the pick now from Balkman. Pick and roll delayed. Balkman just lost the ball. I mean, that was a well-executed play. Just couldn't finish.
Absolutely. Nice little bounce pass, but he lost the handle on it.
And so the lead remains at 10 for the Zamboanga Valientes. They were down by 9 in the early goings of the first quarter. And it's a testament to basketball being a 4-quarter game, which also means that Surabaya can still bounce back. And that's going to be a kickball violation against Balkman. They will reset the shot clock to 14 with 4:05 to play here in the second. We're going to have more subs come in. And again, Balkman is going to take another breather here. So it looks like he's favoring something, though. Maybe that kickball might have hit him in a part of the leg that, you know, he was favoring as he went out, sort of like a mini limp, if you will.
He got fouled early in the game, and I saw him come up a little bit hampered, and I don't know if that's when it happened or not. And the big fella fouled him underneath the rim.
Still going to the same play of going to the weak side, but the Philippine defense is very, very active. Arthur with another steal, and this will be Carrillo trying a dunk, and lucky for him, it bounced in.
The dunk layup combo.
That's a 5.5 in the dunk contest, by the way. Only the 5 only because it went in. Angel, spin.
Zamboanga back in the zone, and Surabaya has to get the ball down low and into the middle against this zone.
Oh, Ferrer is an explosive finisher, knows exactly what to do in transition. And the rout is on as early as the second quarter, Coach. It is now a 14-point lead for Zamboanga. Again, if you cannot stop the transition game of the Valientes, you are in deep trouble, especially if you have no reply on the offense. Tiu, not quite sure if that's what they had in mind for him to shoot a 20-footer. Kawaling says, I'm getting too old for this. Just kidding.
Yeah.
He's one of our friends as well, Coach. Arthur thinking of Steph Curry range. Has Tiu one-on-one. Gets it out to JR. Bengane now, shot clock down to 6. Arthur finally gets a 3. So it's just a matter of time. He had missed his first 3 attempts from beyond the arc here, Coach. Now a biggest lead of the game for Zamboanga, 17 points.
If Surabaya is not careful, we're going to have a blowout here at the half, and I'd really like to see them get the ball inside a little bit. Just settling for these jump shots is providing long rebounds, is allowing Zamboanga to get out and run at their will.
They've only scored 2 points in the last 4 minutes of action. And look at Ferrer just battling inside. 19-point lead suddenly for Zamboanga. Angel, only 1 attempt so far here in the second. There's a drive. Hammonds again making a lot of moves inside. He has been the lone source of income. In fact, he has bookended the drought with a floater and another floater.
Exactly. He's the last person who's gone into the paint both times and scored baskets instead of settling for those jumpers.
53-36. All's not lost yet for Surabaya. Of course, they still have a second half to adjust, but as we come up on 1:40 remaining, you gotta like what the Zamboanga Valientes have done so far, keeping it simple as Arthur strokes another one, trying to beat the shot clock. Ferrer cannot keep it alive. Green shirts have possession. So we're going to have another sub come in here for the Zamboanga Valientes. As Aldacer is going to see his first action of the game. 53-36, 1:25 to go here in the first half. Tiu drives.
And this is what we're waiting to see from Tiu. Get that ball to the middle against the zone and attack the rim. Easy basket there, and they ought to go to it again and again until Zamboanga needs to come back with some of their big men.
It reminds me a lot of Ben Wallace for some reason. With the dreads and, of course, the imposing 6'9" figure.
One of the great defensive players of all time in the NBA.
Backdoor play does not materialize. That pass was way ahead. So a rare turnover for the Zamboanga Valientes here in the second quarter. Under a minute to go before we hit the halftime break. Boy, these thunder sticks are loud, Coach. I don't know how you put up with this yesterday.
It was deafening yesterday. And it was wonderful, the electric feel, but it was hard to hear for sure.
Exactly. They leave it wide open, 3-pointer. Still nothing here for Surabaya on the miss by Lupati. And they can't even buy a second chance opportunity here.
Well, a lot of these rebounds are long rebounds because they're settling for three-point shots. So even if they were in rebounding position, these things are coming out far.
Ferrer setting the pick now. Carino. Shot clock at 3. JR knows it. JR lets it fly way off. And it has been tapped over once again. So the Philippine squad will have a last crack at the basket here before the halftime horn sounds. Kawaling on the fake. Able to draw the foul. Everything going right for Zamboanga Valientes here.
Less than a second left. Draws the foul, and he'll head to the free throw line.
J.R. Kawaling actually restored the lead for the Zamboanga Valientes as we see it again on the head fake. I mean, that's what you always say that, Coach. You cannot foul a jump shooter. You do not bite on these little fakes.
Here's the other thing. Every old player like that always uses the head fake. Get the young fella in the air, draw the foul, and head to the free throw line.
Well, the great Oscar Schmidt was probably the best at doing that. One of the legendary players out of Brazil.
Lived at the free throw line.
Yeah, exactly. And another gentleman from Lebanon by the name of Fadi El Khatib. He had one of the hardest things. He had a head fake that he just used a bit of his head. 3 defenders would be jumping up already. So they actually put a tenth of a second back on the clock. So officially this quarter isn't over yet. But for Lourve Surabaya, they have a lot of climbing to do come the second half.
They got off to that good early start with the solid three-point shooting, but just weren't able to sustain it long enough.
Right. So 55-38 officially at the end of the first half of action. And this matchup here at the ABL, the ASEAN Basketball League Invitational Tournament 2023 has the Zamboanga Valientes up 55-38. We will be back for more. Stay with us right here in Ho Chi Minh.
What you waiting for? Give them what they came for. This is what they came for. Long shot, but I got the reach. Pop lock, now I'm off the leash. Mic drop, I ain't got a preach.
One-on-one, check ball. You do know this is my house, right? Yeah, it's my house too.
No one can compete. I just do what comes natural. This is what they came for.
Oh, with his point guard skills, drives the left, and a slam down right to the rim. Boom, shot the left, Canadian slam. The beautiful lay attack. Down by Portland at the corner. What a shot! Fast, I'm in, and one. Gets it. Athletic move by Sayo. Has to. Oh, Darren Bassett says no. Slam right there. Alex Smith. Alright, good press here. Stolen. Rise up. Boom. 50 Ellie. Oh! Dancing, driving, gun control, airtime, detonates it right there. Coast to coast move as he finishes it. Oh, man, rise up, Chalmers sidestep. Bang! Mario Chalmers, the turn and the burn by Timmy. Oh!
What you waiting for? What you waiting for? Give them what they came for. This is what they came for. Long shot, but I got the reach. Pop lock, now I'm off the leash. Mic drop, I ain't got a preach.
One-on-one, check ball. You do know this is my house, right? Yeah, it's my house too.
No one can compete. I just do what comes natural. This is what they came for.
Oh, with his point guard skills, drives the lane, and a slam down, right to the rim. Boom, shakalaka, Canadian slam. The beautiful lay attack down by Bartlett at the corner. What a shot!
Fast, I'm in, and one. Gets it.
2, 1, 3, and
Athletic
Yes.
move, I say,
Hester.
Oh, Darren Bassett says no.
Slam right there. Alex Smith.
Good press here.
Stolen.
Rise up, boom!
With the alley. Oh!
Dancing, driving.
Airtime detonated right there. Coast to coast move as he finishes it. Rise up. Chalmers sidestep. Bang! Mario Chalmers. The turn and the burn by Tibbin.
So what you waiting for? What you waiting for? Give them what they came for. This is what they came for. Long shot, but I got the reach. Pop lock, now I'm off the leash. Mic drop, I ain't gotta preach.
One-on-one. Take ball. You do know this is my house, right? Yeah, it's my house too.
No one can compete. I just do what comes natural. This is what they came for.
Oh, with his point guard skills, drives the lane, and a slam down, right to the rim. Boom, shakalaka, Canadian slam. The beautiful lay attack down by Bartlett at the corner. What a shot!
Fast, I'm in, and one. Gets it.
2, 1, 3, and
Athletic
Yes.
move, I say,
Hester.
Oh, Darren Bassett says no.
Slam right there. Alex Smith.
Good press here.
Stolen.
Rise up, boom!
With the alley. Oh!
Dancing, driving.
Airtime detonated right there. Coast to coast move as he finishes it. Rise up. Chalmers sidestep. Bang! Mario Chalmers. The turn and the burn by Tibbin.
So what you waiting for? What you waiting for? Give them what they came for. This is what they came for. Long shot, but I got the reach. Pop lock, now I'm off the leash. Mic drop, I ain't gotta preach.
One-on-one. Take ball. You do know this is my house, right? Yeah, it's my house too.
No one can compete. I just do what comes natural.
Oh, with his point guard skills, drives the lane, and a slam down right to the rim. Boom, shakalaka, Canadian slam. The beautiful lay attack. Damn, by Portland at the corner. What a shot!
Fast, Ame. Ame! And one. Gets it.
2, 1, 3. And
The athletic
Yes.
move, I say, away.
has to.
Oh, Darren Bassett says no.
Slam right there. Alex Smith. Oh! All right, good press here. Stolen.
Rise up, boom!
With the outie. Oh!
Dancing, driving.
Airtime detonates it right there. Coast to coast move as he finishes it. Oh, rise up. Chalmers sidestep. Bang! Mario Chalmers. The turn and the burn by Tibbet. Oh!
So what you waiting for? What you waiting for? Give them what they came for. This is what they came for. Long shot, but I got the reach. Pop, lock, now I'm off the leash. Mic drop, I ain't gotta preach.
One-on-one. Shake ball. You do know this is my house, right? Yeah, it's my house too.
Take charge, no one can compete. I just do what comes natural.
All right, back with us here at the Nguyen Gymnasium in Ho Chi Minh. Some numbers from that first half. There's one on the third line that really intrigues me here, Coach.
You know, we discussed this during that first half, is that if you're going to settle for jump shots and play from the perimeter, you're not going to get to the free throw line.
Right.
If you're not attacking the rim and throwing that ball down the block, it's going to be tough to get those foul calls. And so, obviously, there's a 7-point difference in the free throws, and that's part of the way that Surabaya is attacking on offense.
And how about the number of layups as well here for the Filipinos? They were 41% at the first quarter, 52% for the Zamboanga Valientes with a bunch of layups. Obviously, they're also out rebounding and also out assisting the other squad. But I want to make a point, the three-pointers. You said they were like, what, 5 of 8? Talking about Surabaya in the first quarter. They were 1 of 8 in the second.
Well, and both teams had 6 assists at the end of the first quarter. And so it's been 10-1 in that second quarter in terms of assists. And so you can see a lot of those came from the transition baskets, those passes ahead with easy buckets that are going to be a 90% field goal percentage.
And you can see some of the Zamboanga Valientes who are not in uniform just supporting their squad, trying to be noisy here. Of course, they do not have a Philippine contingent as big as anywhere else we've been. I mean, you've been part of the ABL before, Coach. When you play in the Philippines, you expect a loud house.
Absolutely. Well, in the Philippines, I've coached in front of 20,000 people where it's packed. It's packed at the arena. And everywhere you go in Southeast Asia, there's a Philippine constituency that's there to cheer on their basketball, and it's wonderful to see.
That's right.
If any of these countries I've ever coached in or been in, anytime you go to a basketball team, you're going to have those fans from the Philippines, and it's just their appreciation for basketball is as good as anywhere in the world.
Which makes your feat as the Indonesia Warriors head coach even more special because you won that 2012 ABL championship in the Philippines. Was it 2012, 2011?
2011, 2012, and the truth is, I was too dumb to know the difference. I didn't know I was in over my head, and I really was. And so sometimes ignorance is bliss. And so we went out there and played as best we could, and we were lucky to steal one from the San Miguel Beerman team back in those days. But
very talented squad, of course, coached by the late, great Bobby Parks. And now, of course, this version of the Indonesian representative, Surabaya, has a lot of climbing to do here in the third quarter, Coach Todd.
When that Beerman team had the legendary Junmar Fajardo.
That's right.
And all the success he's had in the PBA, there's no one I could be happier for than that young man who is just an incredible kid off the court and on the floor,
That's
obviously.
fantastic. Of course, Junmar Fajardo went on to become a 6-time PBA MVP after his stint in the ABL with the San Miguel Beerman. But of course, now we move to present time with 55 to 38, 17-point lead for the Zamboanga Valientes. This is Noel Zarate working with a former ABL champion coach and the very first ABL coach of the year, Todd Purves. And we know that there's going to be a lot of adjustments here for Surabaya, and you already mentioned that they need to be a little bit more aggressive taking that ball to the hole.
On the offensive end for sure, but there's no doubt Coach lead into a bit about transition defense. You cannot continue to give up these easy layups and passes ahead. So let's see if they respond here defensively, able to run the floor.
Carino getting the start here in the second half. He will miss that first outside shot for Team Philippines, of course, slowly being led in scoring by Jeremy Arthur, who's got 14 at the end of the first 20 minutes of action. Ronaldo Balkman has only missed 2 shots today. He's got 13 points in the game. Three-pointer wide open. And they are continuing to shoot from the outside, but this time a second chance opportunity coming from Team, something they did not have in the first half.
They did not at all, and they were on the perimeter just too much. See him around the rim, and it's going to be beneficial, especially with Ronaldo Balkman not in the game right now.
That's right. He is not getting the start here today. And again, if you're just joining us, no Mario Chalmers as well for the Zamboanga Valientes, but he will be here tomorrow for the next game. Again, they cannot afford to lose anymore. We're talking about the squad from the Philippines. Kawaling putting it on the floor, just beating the shot clock. And Tew, they get another stop here.
And another rebound. Let's see if we can close this gap, make a game of it.
Angio asking for motion here. Hammonds hit a couple of three-pointers as well in the first half. Getting it now to Johnson. Three-pointer. And they are continuing to struggle after that magnificent first quarter they had.
Sometimes that blessing isn't what you think it is.
Yeah.
You hit those early ones, and again, they've settled for them too much without attacking the rim.
Here's Kawaling now. Getting it now to Linganay. Shot clock winding down for the Philippine squad. Carino thinking about it. Cost them a few seconds. 2 seconds remaining here. They have to get this one off, and they will not. Case of overpassing here for the Zamboanga Valientes, and very tentative start for them here in the third.
It's true, and you'd love to see unselfishness, but there are times when you need to go on and be aggressive to shoot that basketball.
Right.
And they passed up a couple of opportunities on that possession.
And again, the presence or the non-presence of Ronaldo Balkman changing the offense up a bit now for the white shirts. They are trying to extend the defense right now with Rudy Linganay. Giving a little pressure now on Pelmela. Pelmala rather. Here is Tew. Pelmala still shaping or facing up here. Trying to drop it inside. Good defensive presence by Kawaling. Another turnover forced by the Filipinos.
Good help from the weak side after that UCLA cut. They used the pick on the roll, got the weak side help, and he got his hand right there in the passing lane, getting the turnover.
Here's Kawaling now. Shot clock down to 9 once again. At least the Surabaya defense is now forcing the Filipinos to stretch a bit in terms of their offense. Amores can't get it to go. Offensive rebound cleared. They'll do this again with the shot clock reset to 14. Now down to 9. Linganay getting a high pick now from Ferrer. He lets it fly. Offline. So the offense with a lot to be desired here for Zamboanga to start the third.
Well, Surabaya has made them play in the half court the last couple of possessions. And then when they're not giving up those easy layups, it makes it a lot more difficult to score.
The gamble did not pay off there for Amores. Tew looking for a friend now. Pelmelay getting the baseline. Good ball movement here. Hammonds thinking about it. Tew has it tapped away. And it will stay with the green shirts with 2.1 seconds remaining. I mean, more patient on the offense, but again, you got to pull the trigger at some point.
Absolutely. We're seeing a tap head. Let's see what they've called here with 2 seconds left to get a shot off.
Hammonds gets the shot off. Just barely beating the shot clock. And again, 55-40. This is not a done deal yet for the Zamboanga Valientes. Amores gets the first step.
Tew dropping to the rim there to make sure he has his presence felt in terms of protecting that rim.
And again, the Philippines deep into the shot clock here. The Zamboanga Valientes going to force another bad shot here if they can get it off, and they do not. That is back-to-back shot clock violations for the Valientes.
Well, and obviously here, Zamboanga is going to play in the half court. They're not nearly as efficient scoring right now, especially with Balkman out of the game, as they are when they get out in transition.
Well, still 55-40. This score has not moved in about 3 minutes here, Coach.
Some horns action for Surabaya.
See if they can get something out of this. Oh, nice pass inside. Oh, everything but the basket there for Johnson. Now here come the Valientes. Jamar Johnson so far stuck on 5 points today. Penetration, Amores finds himself open, three-pointer. And again, the score has not yet moved. Approaching 4 minutes with this 55-40 scoreline, Coach Todd.
Both teams coming out ice cold here to start the second half. Let's see which team's going to be able to heat up first.
Del Melay from a 10-footer, cutting the lead down to 13.
If they can get this lead under 10 points, it's going to be a real confidence booster for the Surabaya team.
Zamboanga has not yet scored here in the second half, and as I say that, John Amores changes that. 57-42 now. The Philippine squad, the Zamboanga Valientes, up by 15 once again. Nice pass outside, three-pointer on its way. That is good. So the Guns have come back now for the Surabaya squad. And that is going to lead into this timeout by the Zamboanga Valientes. Suddenly it is just down to 12, 57-45. We'll step away. We'll be right back. All right, let's take a look at some of the highlights that have happened so far here. And actually, the highlights have belonged to the squad from Surabaya. They are actually outplaying the Zamboanga Valientes to open this third quarter here, Coach.
Yes, and you know what was a 17-point lead, now down to 12. They are making a bit of a run and keeping this close. Wonderful shake action on that last possession from Surabaya.
Fine shake action.
Sure, you're looking at a high pick and roll. So as the point guard is coming off toward the middle, there's a man in the corner, and he raises up to the three-point line. When his man helps on the big man rolling down the middle, the pass is going out there to the wing for the open three. Point guard made the exact correct play, hitting that wing for the open look, and he nailed it down.
How about this open look now from a gentleman by the name of Ronaldo Balkman? He's back in. Jeremy Arthur also back in, and James Kwekute is also back in. So pretty much the experiment of using the second unit is over here for the Valientes. Here's Belorio, who's also back in. It's actually platoon substitution. We've got 5 new players now for the white shirts. Balkman has it denied by 2. Into the front court now for Lourve Surabaya. 2 gets it on the no look, and he can't finish. Oh, they're going to call an offensive foul on him. So I think they're going to caught pushing off there, Coach.
Yeah, they're going to call him for the little push off there before the finish. I'm sure he's not happy about it, but close call.
And again, great acting job by the former NBA veteran. You know, when you're an NBA veteran, they sort of teach you, you know, especially in New York, you know, Broadway and stuff like that.
Those nuanced ways to get the call.
If they don't see it right off the bat, you got to sell it. Great job there by Balkman. Here's Kwekute. Can't get it to go. Belorio now, a part of the twin tower combination at 6'5" on the fall away. Still can't get it to go. And another opportunity here for the Valientes.
And now that the Philippine import players back in with Ronaldo Balkman and they have added some size, we're seeing the rebounding return to what happened in the first half.
But again, after 4 shots, nothing there for the Zamboanga Valientes. I'm not quite sure why Tiu is bringing down the ball, but he gets it over now to Angel. And they're going to slow things down. This lead is only 12 points. The Zamboanga Valientes have only scored 2 points so far here in this third quarter. Move it around right now. Here's another 3 on the way. That is a miss coming from Hammonds. But again, this pace sort of favors Lourve Surabaya, Coach. Here is Balkman. Oh, he lost it. Tiu has it.
Tiu again, coast to coast.
And Tiu missed the layup.
No foul call, missed the layup. Now we're going the other way.
Right. Sort of reminds you of a former player from Hong Kong Eastern by the name of Christian Stan Hardinger. When he just put his head down and just went all the way in. But usually Stan Hardinger finishes. Same thing with Balkman on the follow-up.
What a heck of a player Christian Stan Hardinger has been.
You're absolutely right. Here's Tiu. Of course, he is playing in the PBA for one of the most popular teams in San Miguel as well.
Familiar with him.
Yeah.
Great organization.
Yeah. And they've been winning a lot lately. And Stan Hardinger is a big reason for some of those championships, especially also after he teamed up with Justin Brownlee, who used to play for the San Miguel Ala Pilipinas.
You know, I saw Christian Stan Hardinger originally playing as a freshman at Nebraska University before transferring, and then heading out here to Asia to play, and he's just been a stalwart since he's been here.
6'8", can dribble the ball and can really finish. And off the court, he's quite funny. I don't know if you ever got a chance to meet
guy.
Christian.
No, wonderful fellow.
Yeah, he's a wonderful guy. Of course, helped Hong Kong Eastern make it all the way to the finals. Of course, did not produce a championship for Hong Kong Eastern. Here is Jeremy Arthur. He's got 17 in the game.
Coming off that little screen, turning the corner, just wide open pull-up jumper, and he made it good. Very easy shot in rhythm for him.
2 minutes remaining here in the third. Angio has been held in check as well by the defense of the Zamboanga Valientes. That's going to be a hand check. Going to be called on Jeremy Arthur. That will be his second foul. It's the first time we've seen somebody with plural fouls in this game.
No, there hasn't been a great deal of physicality on defense and a great deal of fouls.
Just the first team foul, actually, for the Zamboanga Valientes. 61-45, however, is the score. The lead is 16 for the white shirts.
Little zipper action there for Surabaya. Some standard action for a lot of international teams on a side inbounds.
Hammonds with a miss right now. So again, they've had one three-point make in this third quarter. That's pretty much it. Balkman changing the play. Wekote, jumper, not there. A minute and 27 remaining in the third. It is not exactly how Zamboanga thought it was going to be in the third quarter. They thought they could sustain their run in the second. Good fight being put up here by Surabaya. And those
they certainly came out. They came out in the second half, and they looked like they were ready to compete, and that's made a big difference.
Balkman baits for the foul, gets it to go, and Tew was the guilty party. Look at this. I mean, Jeremy Arthur could have just finished it right there, but said, "Hey, Ronaldo, let's get a few more points across your name."
That makes you a real popular teammate. When you've got that open shot, when you give up the dime to a teammate so he gets the bucket, you become the most popular man in the locker room.
Well, there's going to be a timeout called here as the Zamboanga Valientes lead has now ballooned to 18, 63-45. We will step away. Back in a moment. With a 1:08 remaining here in the third quarter, Ronaldo Balkman has a three-point play opportunity to up the lead to 19 points once again for the Zamboanga Valientes. It currently stands at 63-45, and Zamboanga needing to win all their remaining assignments for hopes to make it to the next round. This is Noel Zarate working with a former ABL Coach of the Year and, of course, ABL champion as well with the Indonesia Warriors. That was quite a team there, Coach Todd Purves, that you also had with Indonesia, especially when you got this gentleman by the name of Stanley Pringle.
You know, I'll tell you a quick story. Stanley Pringle came to practice when we first hired him, and those are when contracts were month to month. And he came in after the first practice. We spoke with the owner, Mr. Eric Tho here of the Indonesian Warriors, and I told him we will sign him immediately for the full 2 years we can. After one practice, we knew Stan Pringle was that guy.
Well, three-pointer successful once again. Coach Joe Martiera liking what he sees here with a 64-48 lead. It's still a big climb, but you got to start somewhere. They actually had it down to 12 at one point here in this third quarter, forcing the Zamboanga Valientes to call a timeout. And here we go again. Stagnant basketball for the Valientes. 2 seconds, 1 second. Bailout did not work that time for the Valientes. And again, they fall into this trap of setting a lot of screens, Coach, but they don't really take the shot.
They had a lot of ball movement, but no one was being threatening in those when they got the ball. So they just kept reversing it.
Arthur is going to come up with an intentional foul, I believe. I'm not quite sure why he intended to stop the clock at that point. They are not yet in the penalty, though. That's only the second team foul. That's his third personal foul, by the way. I'm not quite sure if he's going to be an important factor moving forward because of this huge lead right now, 16. Little high-low action there.
Really nice pass from the high-low right there. Easy bucket.
So at the end of the 3 quarters that we have played so far, this is still within striking distance for Lourve Surabaya as the Zamboanga Valientes carry a 64-50 lead into the 4th quarter. We will have that for you when we return after you guys watch these highlights from the game so far. Moments away from the start of the 4th period, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see some of the fans here. Of course, there is no Saigon Heat game today. I thought we had a freeze frame. She was just really good at, posing. Probably with her TikTok account on right now. I got a lot of Gen Z people watching us on the stream. How are you guys doing? Welcome to ASEAN Basketball League. And to the ASEAN Basketball League. This is the ABL Invitational Tournament 2023. This leg, of course, here in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Noel Zarate working with Coach Todd Purves. And Coach Todd, I thought the Zamboanga Valientes would blow the game wide open in the 3rd. It's actually the complete opposite. They actually lost points in the 3rd.
You're right, and I think they were on the brink of it a couple times, but Surabaya showed some resilience, and their 3-point shooting to start the 3rd quarter came back. And so let's see if they can cut into this 14-point lead early.
So now it is Johnson, once again, the 3 imports, getting a lot of heavy minutes here, but it's Pelmele getting to the free throw line, the smallest guy on the floor as we speak. It's nice to see, of course, the development of some of the youngsters from Indonesia, especially from Surabaya. I mean, look at that. Sort of reminds you of some of your smaller point guards before. Their names escape me right now. Ronnie Gunawan.
Gunawan is a real good player. Retired now, but he had some great seasons there in Indonesia. That was a really nice move and finish with the left hand. That was a really nice move and a finish with the left hand. Let's see if he can cut this to 12.
And of course, they are coached by this gentleman, Jomar Tierra, who played in the PBA also. One of 3 Tierra brothers. Of course, his older brother, Adonis Tierra, is still coaching in the PBA as well. So they're getting a lot of transfer technology from the Philippines. You have to know that the Philippines, of course, is a little bit more advanced than some of the Southeast Asian countries. That is starting to change, of course. Indonesia won the last Southeast Asian Games, by the way.
They did win the last SEA Games, you're right. Philippines is definitely the gold standard of basketball in Southeast Asia right now, and that continues to be the case. That professional league has been around for a long time, and they just have a great basketball following.
Yeah. Older than you? Nah.
Almost.
Almost.
I wish you were right on that.
Well, look at this, 64-52, down to a 12-point lead once again. And the green shirts with possession. You cannot sleep on a team that has nothing to lose and everything to gain. Johnson.
Oh, nice pass.
Oh, wow. Tew just can't finish. Amores gets the rebound, and here come the Zamboanga Valientes. Into the front court now. Amores is going to stop for a bit. Ferrer, again, this is the 2nd unit working for the Valientes. Balkman, of course, part of the 1st unit, and Ronaldo Balkman knows what to do when he gets the first step.
That was just too easy on the block, and without Q guarding the rim, Ronaldo Balkman's going to have a field day.
And that is out of bounds. Valiant effort on the save. However, Lourve Surabaya is now starting to feel the pressure defense coming from the Zamboanga Valientes. And Coach Bobby Dick, I swear to God, that's what he's called. B-Boy Engyo is going to return now. Again, B-Boy Engyo actually studied in the Philippines in the University of the East. And I think he's still part of the Indonesian national team as well. Of course, he is an IBL player, that's for sure. Oh, that's a pretty good drive. Trying to get the first step.
Great take. Drew the foul with the body there.
Yeah, that was Denver Cadiz. No, you can't take your eye off of these small guards. I'm not even just talking about the Filipinos. I mean, I've had an experience watching some of the Indonesian tiny guards. And one of my favorites, of course, is Mario Wusang, who just has that explosive step, and then he has this little pull-up. And in Singapore before, one of the greatest players in ABL history by the name of Wong Wei Long. When Wong Wei Long gets that first step, especially in the three-point range, and he's just going to pull up, he's almost automatic.
Two absolute legends in the ABL, Wong Wei Long and Mario Wusang, and the number of times that they've hit big shots in games, and two leaders of their respective teams as well.
Engyo trying to provide leadership here. He will get to the free throw line. Looks like he got the foul off of Arthur. If that is on Arthur, then that will be his fourth foul. Oh, they're just saying second personal foul, so they might have got that off someone else. But here's B-Boy Engyo. His father is Filipino, his mother is Indonesian. And he actually saw action in another league in Indonesia, playing for a Philippine team. How interesting is that? I mean, you can just go from one country to another, you're accepted in both.
It is wonderful. Basketball out here in Southeast Asia, where you can hit all the countries and playing in different leagues, it's just incredible experience and incredible travel. Quite frankly, I think the ABL is the best travel league in the world. when you're going to places from the Philippines to Vietnam to Hong Kong, you're visiting some incredible places.
I've actually covered a game before in Bangkok. I left the Philippines and then came back to the Philippines on the same day. That's how wild the travel can be here in the ABL. Oh, good defense here right now for John Amores. One man to beat, leaves it for Jeremy Arthur, and Arthur can't finish. Wasted opportunity there for the Filipinos. That lead is 13, but look at the aggression on defense now for the Zamboanga Valientes, Coach Todd.
Absolutely. That pressure out front, you're going to have to attack the rim.
Engyo, that's his first miss from beyond the arc, and it looks like it was touched last by Ferrer. It's either you go for it or you do not. According to Yoda, it's either you do or you do not. There is no try. And B-Boy Engyo is going to trigger this in. Guys, this game is far from over. Here's the veteran, J.R. Kawaling, seeing action once again for the Zamboanga Valientes as Hammonds laps it up a bit. But this is not yet over here, folks. Johnson can't cut it down to 10.
Got a great look out of that baseline out of balance play. Just couldn't knock the shot down.
Yeah, we were talking about the form of Jamar Johnson during one of the timeouts. He reminds me a lot of Paul George.
He's got a smooth shot. That one just didn't fall for him.
Right. Balkman on the stretch. Good bother there by 2. Balkman on the follow-up. Bothered again by 2. So starting to become a rim protector here. Hammonds could have carried the ball. They didn't call it, and now he's going to throw it away. So sometimes when you know you got away with something, you compound it by making a bigger error.
Tough play. Really need to get those baskets in transition. Can't afford turnovers when you're going to get a look at the basket.
Suputra back in the game now for Lourve Surabaya. Down by 13. 7 and 12 remaining. Still a lot of time to mount a comeback for the green shirts from Indonesia. Kawaling steps into a 3. No. And another rebound picked up here by Surabaya. 2 is going to bring it down. Jamar Johnson, all sorts of room. Gets it over to 2. Gets the first step on Balkman. That will not count. But if the foul is on Balkman, that's a pretty big fish to catch. They called it on Amores.
Yeah, they're going to call that foul on the ground before the shot.
The veteran Rudy Lingane steps in. It is now winning time So you want your veterans in there. Coach De Los Santos does not want to take any risks at this point with this 13-point lead. You can call this a precarious 13-point lead. It is now still a 13-point lead. I mean, 2 attempts at the rim. How close was that?
Extremely close, and you just can't afford those shots against this, to miss those shots against the Zamboanga defense, especially down 13. You have to convert on these good looks.
Lingana changing it up right now, asking for a high pick. Actually gives it out to Amores. Looking up at the shot clock, 3 to shoot. Boltman, great pass inside.
Really nice pass. Boltman working that baseline like a pro, and easy basket.
With a line drive that time, Coach. And that lead is down to 12. B-Boy Angio just refuses to quit here. 69-57, 6 minutes remaining in regulation. Amores will get a lot of burn here. Another nice pass to Boltman.
Another great pass, and you need to have a little further weak side help from Jamar Johnson on that.
Angio again. Angio again. B-Boy Angio has caught fire at the most opportune time for Surabaya.
We've had this lead hovering between 11 to 14 for a while. Surabaya hasn't been able to get it to single digits, but the moment they do, it's going to provide some confidence if they're able to do it.
Lingana almost had it batted away. John Amores. Oh, Hammers looked one way, and Amores is fouled on the body contact. Coming from 2. It looked clean upstairs, Coach, but we know that the body got involved.
It really did. He got all ball up top, but when he came down, he landed right on the offensive player.
And we're going to see it right here again. Boom. I mean, how can you not call that? And John Amores shaken up for just a few seconds there, but this kid's a trooper.
Well, he's going to feel that in the morning. That was a shot. A little bit harder than I recognized at the first time we saw it, but that was definitely a foul.
He might even feel it when he gets back to the hotel at the end of this game. But John Amores coming off the bench, he was a regular starter, averaging close to 18 a game as a starter. But here coming off the bench, it's going to be an adventure for him. And this is a good thing as well, because you can't always be a starter in a lineup this deep for Coach De Los Santos. He's got a lot of reserves. And of course, with Mario Chalmers coming in, he's going to be playing the 2 and the 3 as well.
And you love players that stay ready on that bench, that you know you can call on, that can sub in, and they take that time on the bench to analyze the game. So when we get in there, they're prepared to do something.
Well, 72-60 right now on a split by Amores. Here's Angio trying to escape Kawaling, and his pass is batted away. 12 to shoot now for Surabaya. But it can't be all B-Boy Angio at this point. Again, they're missing the inside-out attack, as you were calling it earlier, Coach Todd. Oh, boy, Tio took his eye off the ball.
Yeah, and it's prohibiting them from getting to the free throw line. They want to get some points, but the clock stopped.
Well, right now, Balkman is actually an ace in guarding without fouling. Make you change your shot. Remember, Balkman's about 6'7" himself.
Been an elite defender, rebounder, hustle player for just so long.
That's true. And a high percentage offensive machine as well. Amores dribbles on his foot. One of those unforced turnovers that, as a coach, you say, come on, next play.
You're right. That's the one you immediately ignore, get back down on defense, and let it go. It's right. The next play is what's on your mind now.
So 72-60. What's working for Zamboanga here is that this clock is starting to become their friend. But that's still a lot of time. We've seen a lot of comebacks, especially here in the ABL. Hammers, yes! It's down to 10. 72-62.
Closest the game's been since the first half.
That's right. Linganay. Here's Balkman right now, isolated up top. He takes it strong. Ronaldo Balkman.
Going right at the big man and the finish around the rim. Fearless, that Balkman.
So 74-62. Zamboanga will be happy to trade baskets from this point on. Hammonds on the drive. Will have to earn it from the free throw line. But you like it now, Coach, that they're taking it stronger. They're getting to the free throw line. They were 0 for 0 in the first half.
Absolutely. So getting to the free throw line allows you to get points and close the gap here without the clock moving, because the clock is not the friend of Surabaya at this point.
So Hammonds Yeah, these free throws are going to be important down the stretch. Now, the thing is, these three American gentlemen have been playing a lot of minutes at this point, and you know the first thing that goes is your stroke when you start to get fatigued. So far, it has not been the case for Hammonds.
You're exactly right, and what tends to go is the legs. And your jump shot really comes from your lower body, and as those legs get tired, it affects, and you watch some of these shots maybe come up short.
This looks like the finishing five already for the Zamboanga Valientes. Linganay out to Kawaling. And zips
Great
it over
bounce
to
pass.
Ronaldo Balkan. Boy, these guys can't do anything wrong with regards to their half-court execution, which was not the case in the third quarter when Lourve Surabaya actually cut into the lead. But now it is a 12-point lead anew for Zamboanga, 76-64, and we have this timeout. (76-64) right now. The Zamboanga Valientes looking good, but with 3:39 remaining, the presses aren't printing the story yet, Coach Todd.
This 12-point lead, it's not insurmountable. Certainly, Surabaya is going to have to get some stops on the defensive end. That's where it's got to start. You get some stops and a couple of easy baskets in transition, we might have ourselves a great finish.
Well, with 3:37 right now, hold on. Let's see if we can actually have a ball game here. Coming off this timeout called by Surabaya's head coach, Joe Martiera. It looks like it's a play designed for B-Boy Angio, and he's going to hurl it up. As soon as he felt some contact, he heard the whistle, and J.R. Kawaling is going to be called. We heard a second whistle, though, Coach.
They're going to call this foul on the ground. Side out of bounds to Surabaya, no shot on the play.
Okay, usually when you hear that second whistle, somebody might have been teed up, and I'm sure you're very familiar with the feeling of hearing a second whistle after you complete.
I don't know anything about those technical fouls. I have never seen an official make a bad call before, Noel, and I don't appreciate these false accusations.
Just going back in time, of course, during the 2011 season, Coach Todd led the league in technical fouls, but of course that's all behind you now.
The fans don't want to know anything about that, Noel. They're just here for the ball game, and they don't need to know about technical fouls.
And here is the problem now with B-Boy Angio missing out on his first free throw. These free throws are very important, especially now that the Valientes are in the penalty. He splits it here.
Can't afford to go 1 for 2 from the free throw line. We've got to be knocking all these down the stretch here.
And you're right about them needing stops here, Coach Todd. However, the half-court game has vastly improved with the presence of Ronaldo Balkman for the Valientes. Here's Kawaling now. Shot clock at 7. JR, elbow, his favorite angle, but he can't get it to go. Battle for the rebound. Look at who chases it down. You called him an elite rebounder. He's also good at chasing down loose balls.
Elite, a king of hustle. You see him rolling to the basket. You see him getting offensive rebounds. Everything that leads to winning.
Amores dribbles on his foot once again. And they will lose possession once again because of that. Here's Johnson. Oh, can't get the layup to drop. That is the third layup they've missed here in the fourth.
An opportunity to cut it to single digits for the first time and blows that layup.
2 minutes and 33 seconds remaining. Have the Zamboanga Valientes done enough to secure this victory? Three-pointer on its way. That could be one of the nails now as Pelorio knocks down his first three of the game.
That's a big shot, and that's demoralizing for the Surabaya team's comeback.
That was a 5-point swing right there after the missed layup, and they gave up a 3 and 2. Can't get it to go. Johnson stays with it. Another missed layup, but now they're going to call the foul. Looks like Ronaldo Balkman used a little bit more than his hands.
You're right. That was a pivotal sequence, though. Missing the layup, transitioning back to a 3, a 5-point swing in this game is devastating.
And of course, at this period, at this part of the game as well, with 2:08 remaining in regulation. So Jamar Johnson at the free throw line right now. Again, just to put things in perspective, folks, Surabaya is out of the running for the next round. That is a certainty. The Zamboanga Valientes need to win all of their assignments for them to even have a chance at making it to the next round. Johnson good on his first. He's actually wearing his first name on his jersey. A very, very sweet stroke for this gentleman.
Really is. Jamar Johnson, been in Indonesia for 10, 12 years and really been an asset to their national team and to all of basketball throughout Indonesia.
79-67. Time winding down with less than 2 minutes remaining here in the fourth. Linganay, Kawaling gets the baseline. J.R. Kawaling allowed to get a layup. And a timeout called by Lourve Surabaya, and that could be another nail that's slowly being driven down the coffin. It is now 81-67. We'll step away. We'll be back in a moment. Final stretch of this ball game here between the Zamboanga Valientes and Lourve Surabaya on the right. Valientes still working with Coach Todd Curves. It's starting to get noisy here once again. But this could be in celebration of another win for the Zamboanga Valientes unless a miracle happens in the final 133. That's part of it there on that slam dunk coming from Q.
Nice play drawn up coming out of the timeout. Wanted to get him on the slip there and got an easy bucket around the rim.
Yeah, but now they need stops, and you know Rudy Linganay, he is looking up at the clock and say, all right, let's run it down.
No doubt. This is about clock management, not making mistakes and turning the ball over. Surabaya really not out pressuring much now anyway.
And there was a lot of concern, of course, when Mario Chalmers was not going to play here today. It looks like those concerns are now sort of a thing of the past with 1 minute and 6 remaining. All we're waiting for here is the final score. Although I did remember an ABL game between the Singapore Slingers and Hong Kong Eastern way back in 2016 where the Slingers at Hong Kong were ahead by 15 with 1 minute and 43 remaining. That game went into overtime.
I can believe it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
that was leaky all the way, man.
Unfortunately, when I was with the Indonesia Warriors, we were up 8 with 27 seconds left against the Saigon Heat and lost.
Yeah.
One of the great wins for the Saigon Heat.
That's
coming
right.
at my expense, Noel.
Well, it happens. Looks like it's not going to happen in this game, though.
No, this one's over for us.
And again, all about clock management here. Rudy Linganay is going to take his time. They don't even have Ronaldo Bachmann on the floor anymore, so they will survive a game with playing just with one import against 3 for the opposition. 2 gets a block.
And they remain alive for the playoffs with 2 really big games coming up this week.
A foul given up by John Amores. They are in the penalty, though, so that's going to stop the clock. And Coach Nelson Chan is going to move the ball forward. You can see the last play once again. I believe that was Rudy Linganay who was called for the foul. So again, you know, basketball has also evolved so much here in Vietnam, courtesy, of course, of the Saigon Heat, and now we've got the VBA as well here. And coaches like yourself, of course, Kevin Yurkus, also making a difference in the programs here in Vietnam. And it's just a matter of time, Coach Todd, before Vietnam actually starts competing in the Southeast Asian level.
Well, the growth's been incredible throughout all of Southeast Asia, with new leagues not only in Vietnam, but Malaysia. The Indonesia League has grown.
Thailand as well.
Absolutely. So we're seeing all across Southeast Asia, new professional leagues, bringing in players from all over the world. It's just great to see.
That's a free thrower violation that's going to be called here against Lourve Surabaya. So they are going to slip down once again. They only have 1 win in this tournament. And I think the order right now is just get it across. And you're looking right now at Ronaldo Balkman and Jeremy Arthur. They are exchanging stories. What a combination those two are going to be. Let's see if Rudy Lingana also thinks about, there still is a quotient to think about here. I'm not a fan of the quotient, of course, where you really have to get as many points as you can in case of ties in the future.
I know exactly what you mean, and I don't care for it either myself. Once the game has been decided, I think you just run out the time and finish it that way. But I do understand when you have point differential determining playoff position that it might be valuable to beat a team by more points than necessary.
That's right. So as Jericho Wallen gets that one across, of course, the quotient will not affect, of course, Surabaya. And they're going to be the ones dribbling out the clock. So this will actually go down as a 14-point win for the Zamboanga Valientes, 83-69. They still have 2 more assignments left on this leg, Coach. They are looking good, especially when Mario Chalmers comes and joins them tomorrow.
Without question. And staying alive today was key. These next 2 games are going to be very entertaining.
Well, there's Balkman, of course. He's going to be a big addition here after they lost Antonio Hester. But they will be only moving forward with only 2 imports. We're talking about the Zamboanga Valientes until they are able to somehow sign a 3rd one. As we take a look at some of the highlights of this game, it was actually a pretty good start for the Surabaya squad. They had a 13-4 lead at one point.
Came out on fire from 3-point range. We thought we had ourselves a game, but Zamboanga just continued to grind defensively.
B-Boy Angio hitting 2 critical 3-pointers there towards the end game. But of course, it had to be the defense that was supposed to be played here by Surabaya. They did no such thing in the end, allowing a lot of layups. There was a critical 5-point swing that could have decided the outcome of this game or could have made the game more interesting. However, in the end, the Zamboanga Valientes, being of course the more veteran team in terms of their composition, and with despite the fact that they only had Ronaldo Balkman, still did enough to pick up this victory against the Lourve Surabaya squad. And I believe, let's see if we're going to have an interview here. We will have an interview with our player of the game. Are we sending it over to courtside at this point? We will continue, of course. We will wait until that cue is done. But again, Coach Todd, we can assess as much as we want here, but it was just really a more experienced team going up against a team that's looking for experience, and they got it.
Absolutely, and this is invaluable experience for these young players from Zamboanga, and a big victory for them here to keep themselves alive with their backs against the wall. 2 games remaining. Mario Chalmers going to join them. They've got everything to believe in right now with the playoffs in sight.
And if they do make it to the playoffs, that will be like barely as well. But again, looking at this Lourve Surabaya team, good composition of young kids. They can get to learn a lot from their imports. I love the way that Johnson played here today. Hammonds also did a great job, and of course, B-Boy Angio tried to lift them to no avail.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now live from Saigon Windsor Stadium with a win for the Zamboanga Valientes, and the MVP, nobody else but the return of Balkman. Randall Balkman, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Look, it's glad to be back in the ABL, representing the Philippines again. My main goal today was to come out here and win the game. I know we got to win the next 2, but we played good tonight, man, and hopefully we win tomorrow.
All right, so it's been a very long time since your last stint with the ABL,
right. And
last time you were with the La Filipina. So how has things changed for you? And you know, when you come back here, what you see, what the difference has it been for the last 3 years?
I mean, the last couple of years, man, I kept my body up. I kept playing. You know, I'm still playing basketball down in Puerto Rico. I mean, at the end of the day, man, you just got to be in shape. And you know, my age right now, I'm just happy to still be doing it at the right way and still playing hard and playing as whatever like I'm doing right now. But I mean, it's been great. The ABL has been ABL. I've been wanting to come back for a long time, and finally I get to come back, and I'm back here, man. I'm here to stay. So we're gonna see what happens, and until next year, you know. But we got the next 2 games coming up. We got to do what we got to do, though.
All right, so one last thing, what do you have to say to the fans in the Philippines right now?
Hey, man, this win for you guys, man. Listen, I know it's been a tough road, but keep supporting us. We got 2 more to go, and hey, man, we're here. Thank you for everything.
All right, congratulations for a big win. Thank you. And that's wrap up the first game of the first half and second day. And right now, let's tune in for our next game. The Marco Black Bear is going to face the NS Matrix live in about 30 minutes.
Ronaldo Balkman getting player of the game honors. We're going to take a look at some of the stats at the end of this game. Of course, the stats in the first quarter all favored Lourve, Surabaya, but in the end, I mean, look at that. It's just, look at the field goal percentage, a lot of layups. Of course, that number dipped down somewhere in the third quarter, but then the three-point shooting. You still like the 10 three-pointers, 10 of 28, that's not bad, but there was still a lot of contested threes as well.
Correct, and starting 5 for 8, then they just went 5 for 20 for the rest of the game.
That's right.
And that's where things fell apart for them. It allowed Zamboanga to get out in transition, getting those easy buckets and really giving their confidence.
And of course, with regards to the free throws, from 0 of 0 going up to 9 out of 12, that's another thing, of course, that they will be looking at moving forward, which is a positive for them. But all the other stats, Zamboanga was able to dominate, and they are able to stay alive. Stay with us here, folks. Our next game is upon us, the NX Matrix.
This broadcast of the ABL Basketball League may not be reused in any way, shape, or form without an express written consent of the ABL.